Now we're with audience participation. Anybody who wishes to come up, you have 5 minutes. If you could state your first and last name, spell your last name. Do we have anybody signed up this evening?
Yes, Mr. President. Ms. Sue Krejci.
Good evening. Sue Krejci, Krejci, 3365 Sliding Rock Trail in Brunswick. I believe in evidence-based decision-making, especially when it comes to large investments. So let's put rhetoric and emotion aside and look at the data. While it may look like a good solution on paper, NOACA has done multiple studies over the years, and all of them have shown that a Boston Road I-71 interchange would not fix the traffic on Route 82 in Strongsville or Route 303 in Brunswick. It's a lose-lose for both of our cities. Your own feasibility study showed that regardless of interchange design, quote, the SR 82/Howe intersection typically resulted in poor/failing level of service throughout each scenario, end quote. This can now be found on page 209 of your revised study. Also in the revised study, ODOT engineers had many critical comments on your study conducted by Euthenix that could be summarized in 3 groupings as follows. Number 1, it's unclear why an interchange was selected as the best option to improve safety and traffic issues. Number 2, there is not enough evidence to support Boston Road as the best location for an interchange compared to other locations, for example, Drake Road. And number 3, the study has drastically underestimated the number of homes that will be taken, and therefore drastically underestimated costs. Your study estimates at the very most 14 homes would be taken, but the comments from several ODOT engineers state that all of the homes between Howe Road and the highway will need to go for limited access right-of-way. There are 20 homes just in that area. 20, and that is on Boston Road. That does not include any homes on North Carpenter or Benbow or Waite Farms development or the Boston Knolls development. Remember when Tom Patton said 40% of the traffic is from Brunswick? I looked at your traffic data this weekend on page 59. During rush hour, only 13% of the traffic that exits westbound on 82 continues on Howe past Drake Road. Do you know how many continue onto North Carpenter Road in Brunswick? 2.3%. If we assume that half the folks that turn onto Boston from Howe are also Brunswick residents and add those in, then we're up to 7.8%. So let's call it 8%. 8%. That's a long way from 40%. The faulty data was the basis of Patton pushing through a bad law that will not help your traffic issues. We all learn the scientific method in school. You develop a hypothesis, test it, and confirm or reject it based on the data. This hypothesis has been proven wrong. And that's good that we see this now before you greenlight an expensive, intrusive project that does not achieve the intended goal, not even close. The scientific is based on evidence, not emotion. This hypothesis is untrue, so you must try another. I know that we live in an age where the truth doesn't seem to matter and many seem to trust feelings over facts. But if you can look at this through an objective lens, you will see, as I have, that the data does not support Tom Patton's claims that a Boston Road interchange will improve safety or traffic on 82 and Howe Road. Spending $50 to $100 million to build a Boston Road interchange and still having a poor failing result on 82 does not seem like a wise investment to me. And even the Euthenix president who did the study said you will still have backups at 82. How will your constituents feel once this interchange is completed and they still have backups? What are you going to do then when you can't blame Brunswick anymore? Mayor Persiak, you said something at a prior meeting when you were talking about doing extra enforcement in neighborhoods where residents were concerned about speeding. You said, and I quote, "I will tell you what happened in my neighborhood when we started the strict enforcement, that everyone said it was Brunswick people, and we have actual documentation. It was the people in our own subdivision." Everybody said it was Brunswick people. And now you have actual documentation that it is not us causing the traffic problems in your city. Putting an exit in where the traffic dissipates is just simply not going to fix the problem. Ms. Kozik, you stated at the September 6th meeting in 2022 where you authorized the funds for the traffic study that, quote, $300,000 is not an insignificant amount of money. Do you think that this is something we're going to be able to push through, end quote? I would implore you all to open your eyes and see that pushing this through was a bad plan from the start. Decisions like this should be driven by data, not political will. I implore you to do the right thing for both cities and abandon this plan that does not come close to resolving the safety and traffic issues it is ostensibly supposed to fix. Please, do the right thing. Thank you.
Ms. Kellums?
I'm Sharia Kellums, Kellums. Today I wanted to bring a picture of my house, the house that you want to take away from me. And we also have houses in here that you guys want to take away from us. We've put our heart and soul into these homes, and you want to take them away, saying it's for safety. We know there's nothing with safety. We know that. I've been saying that from the beginning. This is what you want to take away, right here, and all of those out there. I don't know how you guys sleep at night. Thank you.
Mr. Graham?
Hello, Scott Graham, Graham, live at 19211 Timber Creek Circle. It's in Strongsville. I was here in the early spring to talk about this same issue, and kind of at that time we were told to wait on the results of the study. So had patience and saw the study reported on last week and just had a few comments about it. So the report out at the last meeting, the first thing that struck me was that all the board member or the committee members didn't know about the presentation. I thought that was kind of odd. Kind of goes back to Mr. Mellis's comments on management. It seems like, I don't know if nobody knew or some people knew. That seems like even more of a problem. Yeah, it just kind of, I don't know, would he drive by and just pop in? Or, you know, it seemed like you ought to know he was coming. Second thing caught my attention was 4 to 6 lanes. Yikes. Okay. The only comment I had back in the spring is didn't want it to become Boston Highway. And I know it was said 500 feet, 1,000 feet. We all know that's going to go all the way from West 130th to Pearl, at least. So that kind of struck me, 4 to 6 lanes. Sure not like Wallings. Wallings is 2 lanes, period. No turn lanes, nothing. And then also had a comment about Mr. Mayor saying that Boston couldn't be widened, something about Brunswick speed limit or something. But looks like that's changed. So the next thing that struck me was the scope. It seemed like wasn't defined very well. I think Mr. DeMio mentioned Columbia Station, future traffic, that type of thing. It seems like if we put that much money into the study, the scope should have been defined a little bit better. Next thing that struck me was the moderate improvement that a previous speaker talked about. Don't know how much money. Mr. Mellis also made that point about, you know, what kind of money are we talking about here? Do we know? And it seems like a lot of money for a moderate improvement. And then also a moderate improvement maybe on 82, but definitely a degradation on Boston. Okay. So how much do we spend for a moderate improvement? I don't know. Is it worth people's homes, losing their homes? We won't lose our home, but I really feel for the people that will. And whether it's local payment, the state chipping in, it's still all our money that we're paying for this. Also, yeah, we have an HOA. We just made a major investment on to replace one of our assets right along Boston Road. You know, hopefully that money was not spent in vain. And I know there's people I hear for it because it saves them 5-10 minutes getting to work and back. I don't think those people would stand here and face these people and tell them their 5 minutes is worth them losing their homes. Couple things I didn't understand. So part 1A, part 1B. So part 1A, I kind of got that, the study part, but then it said 1B was the part where ODOT's involved with public meetings, but that has not been authorized. Not sure what that means. And we haven't heard anything. He said it may be a couple weeks or something, but I don't know if that's come out and I just missed it, but I'm not sure. But lastly, I just want to thank and admire the Homes Not Highways group for their persistence and their dedication to this cause, and my wife. And one speaker at that September 4th meeting really said something that struck me, and he said that about time. So none of us want to be here spending our time on this. You know, we'd rather be spending our time, like he mentioned, with our kids, our grandkids, but people have been forced and spent a lot of time going down to the State House. It was just amazing, amazing. So that's basically all I wanted to say. Just thank you for hearing me.
Ms. Farknowski?
Nancy Frogowski, F-R-O-G-N-O-W-S-K-I, 465 Pembroke Cove, Brunswick. Good evening, everyone. Since our last meeting, when the gentleman from Euthenix spoke about the results of their study, I've had so many thoughts on this interchange. I don't understand why the issue of safety and reducing traffic continues to be the reason as to why the interchange is needed at Boston Road. As we all know, there are so many safety issues that would have to be addressed if the interchange is put in at Boston Road. It doesn't make sense to me to create numerous safety issues at another location in order to increase the safety at Route 82 and 71. The study prepared by Euthenix showed a minimal reduction in traffic at Route 82 and 303, and yet there continues to be discussion to put this interchange at Boston Road. For a minimal reduction in traffic, you're willing to destroy Strongsville and Brunswick residents' homes. You're willing to change our residential neighborhood into a commercial area for a minimal reduction in traffic. And you are willing to relocate a jet fuel pipeline. Imagine the potential tragedies that exist with that type of project. And Mayor Persiak, aren't NOACA and ODOT required to review and approve this interchange location prior to it being a done deal? And do you think the study addresses all that ODOT needs to review this? Does Strongsville have any plans to work with Brunswick and Hinckley on this proposed interchange, which Governor DeWine recommended? It continues to anger me how your city can forcefully impose an interstate interchange on Brunswick and the southern portion of Strongsville to supposedly improve the circumstances on Route 82 in Strongsville, when numerous detrimental and negative consequences affecting so many will take place in our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Ms. Eileen Krejci?
Eileen Krejci, 3684 Boston Road, Brunswick. Good evening. The feasibility study prepared by Euthenix has determined that the proposed Boston Road interchange will not solve the congestion and traffic issues on State Route 82 and Howe Road. In fact, the study shows that the improvement would be minimal and a backup of traffic on State Route 82 will still exist. I am sure that Mayor Persiak was not happy to hear that the addition of the new interchange at Boston Road was not going to solve Strongsville's traffic issues on State Route 82. Since the addition of a new interchange at Boston Road will not solve the safety issue, and Mayor Persiak has stated
I think you're good.
That's okay. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Since the addition of a new interchange at Boston Road will not solve the safety issue, and Mayor Persiak has stated in the last meeting that Fultz Parkway will not be connected to Boston Road, it's time to move on from the idea of an interchange at Boston Road. The safety issue itself can be resolved by implementing other options that Strongsville has not yet explored. Perhaps more in-depth investigation into traffic patterns, current timing of traffic signals, etc., by experts in this field would yield better traffic flow on State Route 82. This option would be a win-win for both Brunswick and Strongsville, especially for those residents who are targeted to lose their homes. Thank you.
Mr. Wilford? Mr. Wilford?
My name is Buckley Wilford, 18583 Benbow Road, Strongsville, and I wanted to say some things. The other day I was so proud of the city of Brunswick, which I'm not so proud of Strongsville. I'm glad to hear good things going on with our city and stuff, but it just seems like I can't take any joy in that right now. It's like we're the black eye of Strongsville. It's like Boston Road was chosen because who cares about that side of Strongsville at the end next to Brunswick? Who cares? We won't look at Drake Road. We won't look at Sherman Road, which Ann Roth was totally against before, but by all means, that would at least be in Strongsville, and it would still be another way over there to the Fultz Parkway to get people off, and she's all for the area on Boston Road, which she's still the ward person for as well, which I just can't believe. That just astounds me. I'll remember that on voting day, and I'll make sure I'm telling everybody about that too. And then this whole deal with Patton. You know, we had a bus trip. There was a big bus rented, City of Brunswick, Mayor of Brunswick, all the council members in Brunswick, council members from Hinckley were there as well, who were totally opposed to this. All went down there. We had 3 representatives speak. We had a press meeting where one of the press people told me that she has never seen that many people ever come down there for an issue ever before in the state of Ohio. So it shows it's a pretty big deal. It's not just 5 or 10 people who are upset about this crazy decision to pick an interchange at Brunswick. And I love the guy, Romanchuk, when he pointed out, yeah, they signed that into a law, and what a mistake that was. Sometimes mistakes happen, and those mistakes need to be rectified. And we got to walk over with them as they signed it into the law book to repeal the law and to change this silliness and this madness. And then I couldn't believe later that I read in the paper that Patton was questioned, and he said people should sue the realtors who sold them those houses from 40 years ago. And he said if they don't get the compensation under fair market value, they should sue for that. That sounds like a little child talking. Surely not a guy I want in politics. Surely not a guy I will ever vote for again. I don't know who's running against him, but I will actively oppose him in all type of things whatsoever. I'll say don't vote for Patton. This guy is not the kind of fellow we want to have represent anybody in the state of Ohio. I'm ashamed of that fellow as much as a shame can ever be. I voted him for the past. I guarantee I will never vote for him again, no matter who is ever running against him, because of the type of fellow that I've seen him to be. And the whole issue with the congestion, I think, is a farce, because they've already pointed out in the study, and everybody here, that there's hardly any difference in congestion whatsoever to put this huge interchange in to destroy these homes. Some of the transportational insights said that why not make the pipeline move, but move the 4 to 6 lanes towards Strongsville. Imagine how many more houses, imagine how many more people in Strongsville, if they realize that their house is also going to be destroyed, are going to be looking at this like, oh my gosh, who came up with this idea? And where will it come to? Our city council right here from the meeting last year when you guys all decided, oh, this would be a good idea. Let's try to push this through. I'm feeling pretty confident this is not going to happen. And I'm sad that I have to be here. I wish I didn't have to come here. I wish I had to talk like this. I I'm the kind of guy that likes to get along with people. I don't like to have conflict. I don't like to have all this trouble. But this is a deeply unsettling issue, and it sure would be nice if you guys would take a stand and do the right thing and stop it now, rather than us having to come here every 2 weeks, the whole state of Ohio, the news playing it all over the news all the time, making us all look like a bunch of losers here in the city of Strongsville, because that's really what it looks like, and it's a very terrible thing. That's the only thing I wanted to share tonight. I know it's my frustration, my anger, but I'm glad you guys hear me, and I hope you do hear me. I hope I'm not just speaking to a wall because you've already decided you're going to do stuff and you don't care what any of the residents say, because that's how I feel. That's how I felt just about the whole time I've ever been up here. So don't feel any love whatsoever. Thank you.
That's all that's signed in, Mr.